Dear internet, I didn't want to have to make this video. Blah 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 blah. Ideally, I would never make a video that has anything to do with Shoe on Head. I'm just gonna call her June because that's how I know her as June. Because it's basically like sticking your dick in a piranha tank because her fans are fucking freaks. They're absolute freaks. You make any kind of criticism, people are like, she's not gonna fuck you, bro. And it's fucking annoying. I've been dealing with that for, I don't know, 7 fucking years. Everybody is open to criticism. Everybody. I am especially open to criticism. Criticize the shit out of me. I don't give a fuck. I do not care. But traditionally, I try not to talk about Shu because her fans are stupid. Very, very annoying and stupid. And they don't really like to think, which is one of the reasons probably why they like her content so much. Anyway, I've also gotten accusations of weird tribal people that are still stuck in 2016, 2017. Anytime I criticize anything lightly about Shu, why would you do that to your friend, man? Like, that's so messed up. Me and Shu have never really been friends. I've met her in real life twice. The first time went horribly, and the second time was basically like, yeah, sorry about that, whatever, and we just kind of spoke. We never spoke in DMs, save for very rarely, and we spoke more in DMs after I lightly criticized her than I ever did before. And there are reasons for that. That is nobody's business, but it's all on her side, not mine. But no, Shu and I have never really been friendly. Not really. We've been genial, I suppose. But yeah. So anyway, she made this video. I watched Sound of Freedom because the media told me not to. Now, when I kind of made a little bit of fun of this on Twitter, people were like, well, obviously you haven't seen the video because that's the joke that, the media isn't really telling you not to. And then people who actually watched the video were like, actually, no, she does seem to believe it. So I'm going to do what everyone should do. And before I make my decision, I'm going to actually watch her video. I'm going to hear her out to see what she has to say. Because I know a lot about Sound of Freedom, but I've not seen it. I have not seen it. If I need to be intellectually consistent, maybe I'll find a way to watch it. And give my opinion. But, yeah, let's go. Yeah, it helps if it starts.
If there is one thing in the world that would make me want to see a movie, it's the entire mainstream media in unison telling me not to see it. And okay, I know...
Okay, hang on. Because, again, people were telling me it was a joke and that she was saying that the mainstream media is not telling her to.
Unison telling me...
Sound of Freedom is a superhero movie for dads of brainworms. QAnon is a box office hit whose star embraces QAnon. Pushes QAnon a bizarre media blitz. The QAnon adjacent thriller. Anti-child drive QAnon. How is any of this the media telling you not to watch the movie? I don't understand how you're making that claim. What?
Not to see it. And okay, I know that's a little contrarian-brained. I know. But I'm at the point in my life where if the mainstream media told me not to put a metal fork in an electrical outlet, I'm putting the fork in the outlet.
That's stupid. That's such a self-report. That's such a self-report. Like, I am so baby-brained and controlled by my dislike of what I perceive as the mainstream of libs or whatever, that I am willing to self-sabotage myself. What are you talking about? How is that a good take? How is that something that an intelligent person would do? How is that responsible? That's the meme. That's the meme of like, gosh, I really don't want to do this, but the left is making me turn into a Nazi as I get Nazi tattoos and shave my fucking head and shit. That's the meme. That's not funny, and it's very poignant. It's such a self-report. And also, like, look, if you don't like mainstream, whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean these days... fine. If you don't like the libs, whatever that's supposed to mean these days, fine. But to be so controlled by what you perceive as your ideological enemies or whatever, that you're willing to like do harm to yourself even if it's not like this obviously hyperbolic example of sticking a fork in a socket, but like having to experience media that you're not going to like, then that they are controlling you even more than if you just simply consumed media on your own and made up your own damn mind about it. It's so dumb.
Outlet. The taste of freedom. Very trad wife today. Very, very Little House on the Prairie today. Very QAnon coded. This is a dog whistle. So,
okay, sure.
I just saw The Sound of Freedom.
Yeah.
And I want my money back. I waited 2 whole hours for the satanic elite cabal Democratic Party pizza parlor scene that I was promised by the media, and it never came. I bought
Okay. Okay. So I do know the story behind Sound of Freedom, and it really doesn't have anything to do with QAnon. The QAnon connection is not the story of Sound of Freedom. That's not the QAnon connection at all. The QAnon connection is something very specific. If you actually read the articles about it, talking about the QAnon connection, then you know. And nobody there has not been mainstream media articles that are directly saying like this story, the Sound of Freedom, is pushing the QAnon with the Democrats, no.
tickets under the impression that it was some far-right Q movie, and instead, it was just some boring movie about human trafficking. Would journalists really do that to me? Would journalists really go on the internet and tell lies? For those of you who don't know, Sound of Freedom is an independent film from Angel Studios, based on a true story about Tim Ballard, a federal agent that went undercover and rescued trafficked children in South America. People have criticized the film for being a bit exaggerated, and I tend to agree. I mean, a good federal agent? Really?
Okay, that's good. Nah, that's good. That's fair. That's pretty good.
Sound of Freedom was actually made around 2018, but was shelved by Disney and then later picked up by Angel Studios. Disney was like, no, sorry, we can't make this movie. We need to make the 500th soulless live-action remake. No time for this, we need to make live-action Moana, even though—
Okay, what's the point in talking about that, though? Is it just like I don't really understand what the point is of bringing that part up. Look, all of the live-action Disney remakes, they all suck. They're all crap. You know, everybody knows that. But like, why make this argument? So I'm having to psychoanalyze this, because if I'm really going to be analyzing this video and the whole purpose and point of this video, why she would make this video, because June does not make a lot of videos. She's very inconsistent with how much she will actually produce content. So there has to be a purpose behind it. Something really had to have gotten to her, or whatever, influenced her in some way. So why make this comment of Disney was going to pick it up, which odd. And then, but look, instead of confronting the child trafficking, Disney would rather make bad, live-action remakes? I don't know. Is that the point? Otherwise, why mention it?
Though the animated one came out like last fucking Thursday. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the movie itself, what I honestly thought about it, if you should see it. Then I'm going to get into the insane media circus surrounding this movie, because, oh my god. Also, there is a reoccurring character in the Shoe on Head cinematic universe that makes an appearance, and when he appears, you will scream. So I'm going to give you an extremely honest review of Sound of Freedom, completely unbiased and from the heart. It was It was just a very normal, good movie. It had some—
Very normal, good movie. He said it was boring, then it was and then it's a normal, good movie. Okay.
pacing issues, there were a few corny lines. Never trust a pedophile. What if that was your daughter, Jorge? Hear that? That's the Sound of Freedom. I don't know why this movie is classified as an action thriller. I expected him to go like Rambo on the traffickers a few times, but that never happened. And
there's a reason for that. There's a reason why Jim Caviezel cannot go Rambo on people, and we're gonna get to that in a minute.
I guess, like, that wasn't the point of the movie. The point of the movie wasn't some, like, bloodlust action film where a cop goes rogue and just like murders a bunch of dudes. It was just a really real and like raw story about human trafficking. It was very grounded in reality. I teared up about 3 times, maybe 4 times. I actually teared up during the corny ass "that's the sound of freedom" part. I was like so mad at myself for that. And a really important part that I just cannot stress enough is how apolitical this movie was. There was no politics, no culture war, nothing about the gays, nothing about the Jews. I left the theater like, that's it? It had no real...
I mean, that's good. That's good. And I've heard very similar to it. One of the big problems with this movie really has nothing to do with the content inside the movie. Not really. That's really not the issue. The issue is what's around the movie. And there's, obviously, so like as some people have pointed out in the chat, like there have been instances of claims made in the movie being more than likely blown way out of proportion. That's a fair criticism, but that happens with lots of movies. Like, whatever. You go a little bit hyperbolic with it, whatever. We're trying to entertain people here, like, it's a thing.
Real narrative besides human trafficking bad, which is why I find the media's reaction so interesting. Article after article after article smearing this movie as far-right QAnon propaganda. Now, what exactly is the Q connection in this movie? What connects this movie to QAnon? Like, I don't know, maybe I missed the adrenochrome scene. Maybe Hillary Clinton came out and sacrificed a baby while I wasn't looking or something. So I went to the Wikipedia just to be sure I didn't miss any of the good scenes.
Although the film does not mention any QAnon conspiracy theories.
Oh. There was none.
Caviezel has endorsed...
Wait. Why did you cut that off, though? Wait. Like, wait. Hang on. Critics of the film... Well, why in the world... Hang on. Why do you chop it there? Let's see. Alleged ties to the QAnon conspiracy theory. Let's see if we can make Kowalski hands. Although the film does not mention any QAnon conspiracy theories, critics of the film have accused filmmakers of embellishing the reality of the child exploitation and stoking QAnon conspiracy theories, referring to a belief that a core group of devil-worshipping elite run the world. Both Ballard and Star Caviezel have been public about their belief in conspiracy theories about the QAnon movement. Well, that's interesting. Yeah. Well, okay, so why not mention that? Like, critics of the film have accused filmmakers of embellishing the reality of the child exploitation and stoking QAnon conspiracy theories. So, wait. Shoo! Wait. Hang on now a second. So, because they don't outright say QAnon or adrenochrome, then obviously it has nothing to do with it, right? Right? Like, there are very legitimate reasons to be a bit worried that the movie is kind of QAnon coded. There are legitimate criticisms for that. But just be like, nobody technically says it, so whoopsie doopsie is so fucking dumb. It's inane. It's very, very silly. Like, you can have, and this is what's so weird to me too, is Shu and a lot of other people who are on the right, because let's be honest at this point, they have this thing where they're like, everything should be able to be criticized. Why can't we talk about it? Why can't we analyze it? But when you actually analyze something and you come to a conclusion that they don't like, they're like, well, you're overthinking it. Oh, well, they didn't actually say it. They'll make every excuse for why your criticism is invalid. They could just disagree with you. That's okay. Disagreement is great. If you watch the movie and you know full well, like, all of the basic criticisms and you don't agree with those criticisms, that's okay. That's okay. But you cannot claim to be honest, intellectually honest, especially somebody like Shu, who's been in this for a long time, and say, well, it has nothing to do with it. You could instead report that there are criticisms that people think that. I don't agree. Sure. But this is like, no, that's just stupid. That's dumb.
Caviezel has endorsed the belief that child traffickers drain children's blood to obtain adrenochrome,
Yeah.
a chemical with supposed anti-aging properties.
Okay, but doesn't Peter Thiel literally do that?
Peter Thiel is also a sick, twisted, authoritarian, far-right vampire. Yeah. Yeah, but he also doesn't steal people. He just he gets consensual blood transfusions. Like, there's lots of ways to criticize Peter Thiel, and you should, because he's a piece of shit. But, like...
So basically the main actor believes in some insane conspiracy theory about rich people trafficking children or something like that.
Yeah.
Who believes in that crazy nonsense, am I right? Not me. No, but apparently he believes in like a bunch of QAnon type stuff, and he's a little kooky.
And Christ is your sword. May you join Saint Michael and all the angels in defending God and sending Lucifer and his henchmen straight right back to hell where they belong.
But who among us?
That's honestly not even close to the craziest Jim Caviezel clip. He's even more insane when he's being calm. He just speaks very matter-of-factly, you know?
Is not a little kooky. He's an actor in the movie. He didn't direct the movie. He didn't write the movie. So I don't know why all the criticism of the actor and his opinions are being lumped in with... Who is getting arrested out there? Stop it. Tom Cruise is a f***ing Scientologist. I didn't hear anyone shitting and pissing about the new Mission Impossible movie being a dog whistle for Scientology. You think...
Because it's not. There's nothing about Thetans or Xenu. You know, like, it's not... The new... By the way, the new Mission Impossible movie, fucking awesome. Absolutely fucking awesome. And the other thing is, too, like, to be honest... You have to keep in mind, even Scientologists they pretty much know that Scientology is bullshit. You know, there are reasons for it. There are reasons why people fall into that sort of thing. And, you know, like, even if they're a hardcore believer, the only damage that Scientology does is to its members, to each other. Whereas QAnon... convinces people to ruin their fucking lives and ruin other people's lives and promote anti-Semitic conspiracies, hate groups, like all sorts of crazy ass shit, man. Like, it's a stupid false equivalence. Like, well, Jim Caviezel is a lunatic, but Tom Cruise, one of the biggest movie stars in the world, who is universally beloved, even though he is kind of a kooky motherfucker. Is a sign, so it's the same thing. What the fuck?
Hollywood isn't infested with the weirdest fucking people you'll ever meet in your life. An actor having conspiracies about rich, powerful pedophiles is probably the most sane thing you're gonna find there. In fact, you'll probably just find rich, powerful pedophiles. Sound of Freedom is a superhero movie for dads with brainworms.
That's, yeah, sure.
The QAnon-tinged thriller about child trafficking is designed to appeal to the conscience of a conspiracy-addled boomer.
Yep. All right, these are fair criticisms. What's wrong with these criticisms?
Caviezel, best known for being tortured to death in Mel Gibson's Passion of the Christ. What a bizarre way to describe someone playing Jesus in a movie.
I think it's funny. I think that's really funny. What's wrong with our jokes? What's wrong with the joke?
That's like someone playing JFK and being like, best known for getting his head blown off by the CIA. Also, yeah, maybe...
Yeah, that would be really funny. I would like reading that. That's enjoyable. Jokes are fun.
It is kind of a superhero movie for dads. Like Taken. Dads have children and will probably have a lot of empathy for children. It actually shows a lot of men crying. The QAnon movie, destroying toxic masculinity. It's a stomach-turning experience, fetishizing the torture of its child victims and lingering over lush preludes to their sexual abuse. At times, I had the uncomfortable sense that I might be arrested myself just for sitting through it. What? Were you horny? This movie...
No. Shoo? No. What? No. They're basically equating it to torture porn. What? It's a stomach-turning experience fetishizing the torture of its child victims and lingering over lush preludes to their sexual abuse, in that it felt exploitative, that they were watching something that made them uncomfortable because it felt like they were hyper-focusing on something that was really horrific and gross and sexually tinged because that's the nature of like the content of the movie, why would you then put it on like somebody who's saying like this is gross and I feel like this should be like something that's illegal, and seeing it, like you get what I'm saying? But then this comment is so shitty.
To their sexual abuse. At times, I had the uncomfortable sense that I might be arrested myself just for sitting through it.
What? Were you horny? This movie
Were you horny? What? Were you horny? What the fuck is wrong with you? Can you not understand this shit? Like, what the fuck? Were you horny? God damn, dude.
movie didn't show much of anything at all. Maybe you walked into the movie theater where they were showing cuties.
As implausible as the movie is, it invents a finale where Balor journeys deep into a jungle alone to pluck a girl from the clutches of guerrilla militants, which he accomplishes by posing as a doctor distributing cholera vaccines. One wonders if it was extreme enough for Caviezel's liking.
So this happened in the movie, but I wonder what the actor thinks of it because he believes in something else. We were so close to actually reviewing the actual movie.
The actor has
Okay, that's fair. It's fine. I really honestly, that's fine criticism if you yourself could maintain like a very stern integrity, that you're not going to drift off into other tangents. Like, by the way, why didn't Disney want to make the anti-child trafficking movie and instead made these bad movies over here? Or like trying to like superimpose your beliefs on what somebody is. It's so dumb. Like, fuck, dude, whatever. I'm just going to keep going.
Taken to repeating the most grotesque falsehoods of the sprawling QAnon ideology. Among them that traffickers are harvesting children's organs. Compared to this nonsense, Sound of Freedom is relatively grounded in our universe.
Yeah,
Okay?
But that mainstream accessibility makes it a valuable recruitment tool.
A valuable recruitment tool? Oh
Yeah.
no, if you watch The Sound of Freedom, you're gonna go down the right-wing rabbit hole.
On the QAnon message board Great Awakening this week, adherents celebrated the movie's box office success.
I mean, anything can really get you down like an ideological hellhole of weird spiraling ideology. Lots of stuff can do it. I'm gonna agree with Shu on this one. That kind of like automatic, it's a pipe, like a shoot straight to it. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think in some ways it can maybe kind of like steer people towards a certain type of focus on something. But here's the thing. Let's be honest here. Right now, there is a very specific and concerted effort by one political party to try and save the children, okay? And it's performative nonsense. It's wild performative nonsense. They want to save the children from things like sex education or knowing that gay people exist or that trans people exist. And they label anybody who has a differing opinion or just believes that we should all be able to experience, the same rights as groomers. So, like, look, I'm not saying this movie is doing that. I'm not. What I'm saying is, this coming out at this point in this time, it does have a certain type of cultural weight. That doesn't mean to say that, this movie is intentionally a recruitment tool or that it's specifically coded to be right-wing. It's not. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that the timing of it can very much, kind of prioritize people's brains more in one direction. But to be honest, I don't think anybody's going to go into Sound of Freedom and make and ideologically shift. It's probably just going to consolidate more people who think one way and repulse people that think a different way, and pretty much bore anybody who watches it and is really being honest with themselves. I will say, if anybody does legitimately want to save the children, there are institutions, international institutions, that have protections in place to protect predators, that really should be condemned. It's called church. There's that. We could maybe focus on that. We could make a movie about that. I don't know, man.
Damn, that's crazy, bro. I wouldn't know that because I don't go on QAnon message boards like you apparently do. I love that criticism of this movie is being stretched this far.
Wait, so you're mad because a journalist is paying attention to a message board and reporting on it? Why does that bother you? I don't understand.
It will surely do no good to point out Sound of Freedom's white savior narrative.
I mean, it is kind of based on a true story, so like, he is white. He technically is a savior, so yeah, I guess he's a white savior. I'm sorry they didn't race swap the main character. I bet if Disney produced...
I don't think anything about that was trying to talk about white race swapping, so it's stupid that you go that direction. But sure, yeah, somebody saying that has a white savior narrative, like, yeah, you can say that it's got that kind of a vibe and a feeling, that's sure, but is that very helpful in your review? Nah, I agree. Yeah, should be like, fuck sickos, you know?
This like they were originally gonna do, maybe he would have been a woman or something, but no.
There's visible suffering all around us in America. There are poor and unhoused, and people brutalized or killed by police. There are mass shootings, lack of healthcare, climate disasters, and yet, over and over, the far right turns to these sordid fantasies about godless monsters hurting children.
Okay, I'm pretty much convinced at this point that Shu just went through a few of these articles and found, like, the most biased, far lefty opinion piece to make this video about, which is funny because when you do it this way, and especially because the title of this video is, I watched Sound of Freedom because the media told me not to, but if you're focusing on this article, probably an opinion piece, because I don't even know, like, does she have a link to this article? Let's see. Sources used in this video, an Imgur link. Okay, I'm going to open this up in a different window. Let's take a look. Go to site. Yes. Oh, that's good. Works cited. I already knew a lot about this, so I didn't cite anything. Here's a picture of Danny DeVito. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, so I don't even know which, like, tiny, obscure, stupid article she's even citing. But this isn't just one hyperbolic, hard lefty, opinion piece. This is the media. The media. Wow. Fucking fuck my butt. What the shit? Holy fucking cow. Wowzers, June.
Okay, wait, I agree, but like, can we not care about those things and also care about other stuff at the same time? I wish the far...
Really? Yeah, sure. No, absolutely. I agree. We could talk about the poor and unhoused, the people brutalized or killed by police, the mass shootings, lack of healthcare, climate disasters, over and over, right. Yeah, no, dude, we can. We totally can. Absolutely. All right, cool. No, we can worry about those. Where's your videos on it? Where's your videos on it, huh? That weird. Where's your videos on it? We can care about those things, right? We can care about them. Right. Sure. Absolutely. Where's your video on it? You care enough about this stupid piece of shit movie that you're gonna go and make an entire video on this one stupid fucking article and paint it as the media. Where's your based analysis of the real societal conditions in America? Like, what the fuck, man? Jesus Christ.
Can we not care about those things and also care about other stuff at the same time? I wish the far right cared about that other stuff, but like, I don't know, I feel like they're allowed to care about like this topic too. Also, calling it fantasies is like really...
Why does the far right care about this topic though? Why is the far right so absolutely hyper-focused on it? Like, you can't just say, like, well, they really care about, like, child predation, but not actually have any analysis on why and, like, what their fucking focus is on this shit. Why? Because I can tell you. It's a weaponization of politics using people's feelings, their knee-jerk, wrenching feelings about the most vulnerable people in society, children, in order to try and strip people of fucking civil rights. That's what's been happening. The whole thing that we were like, nah, they're never going to fucking do that. Like 5, 6, 7 years ago, they're doing it. They're doing it now. We're watching them fucking do it. So all those people who were being hyperbolic back then, they weren't. They were right. They were right. And now far right utilizes this kind of shit to leverage as much political weight as they possibly can. They label everybody they possibly can as groomers. They want to focus on like the godless and evil Democrats and how they're blah, 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 blah. And the thing is, too, how the human brain works is if you make things as wacky and batshit as possible, well, people are probably not going to believe you. But they might drift a little bit in that direction. Just a little bit. Just a nudge. And that's how politics works. That's how fucking psychology works. It's very simple.
Weird. Like, it's based on a true story. It's still a real thing that happened and does happen.
Sound of Freedom is an anti-child trafficking fantasy fit for QAnon.
Again with the QAnon in the title. Again. Also calling it a fantasy. Are these journalists like all in the same group chat? Are they all in like the same Discord server just copying each other's work?
A few qualifications up front. The exploitation of children is a real problem that no one besides the exploiters wants.
True.
Well, okay, at least we can all agree on that. And
True.
most of the article is just about the actors' opinions.
The movie itself is well acted, it looks expensive, and it moves at a rapid clip. I feel
I feel like it's probably kind of a valid thing to bring up, though, because you have to keep in mind, nobody will fucking work with Jim Caviezel. No one will work with Jim Caviezel. There are real important reasons for it. And like, honestly, you know what? Let's do it now. I've had something like locked and loaded in the fucking pipe here. We're gonna do it right fucking now. Okay? There we go. So this is a summation of some of the claims that were made on the QAnon Anonymous podcast. These are former crew members from the show Person of Interest, which is one of the last things that Jim Caviezel really had any real weight of doing, some real cultural relevance. So we're just going to read these. These are not my claims. These are claims from the people who worked on Person of Interest. You can go to the QAnon Anonymous podcast and listen to it. It's totally fine. Dude is a crazy Christian religious nut who also believes in all the crazy Q shit. He's compared himself in the past to Jesus and John Pope Paul II. Him, along with Mel Gibson, believed they'd be persecuted for filming Passion. He believes he still is, literally describing himself as one of the top 5 actors in Hollywood before filming Passion. On the set of Person of Interest, everyone considered him to be the dumbest man alive, which is also why he was so dangerous on set above everything else. Caviezel pretty much didn't understand the difference between acting and real life. He basically acted like a sociopath where actors are the same as props. They were there for him to play with. If there's a scene where he has to choke a bad guy, he's legit going to choke the actor because that's what the character would do. In one scene filmed in Manhattan, he's supposed to be driving to chase someone. He's just supposed to pull out and stop the car for the camera. Instead, he goes full blast, runs a red light, and nearly hits 4 pedestrians. When asked why he would do such a thing, he says, "It's because that's what the character would do." After this, he was quickly banned from any scenes involving him driving, and a stunt double would do that. He's obsessed with the military and Navy SEALs, would frequently talk about training with the SEALs and being friends with SEALs, and have stickers all over his car about supporting the military and SEALs. Dude felt like he served because his character is an ex-Special Forces soldier, plus he played a soldier in the Thin Red Line. His band of vehicles quickly extended to everything else, because putting any object or weapon in his hand was a recipe for disaster. Again, dude thought he was some soldier and everyone else's props. If you give an object to hit a character or a gun, he's going to hit them or try shooting them. These scenes were replaced with stunt doubles wearing baklavas, which was common in the series if you watched. He didn't understand his character at all. He would frequently suggest his character violently murder or torture people. This despite being the last thing the character would ever do. He would constantly suggest that despite being shut down hundreds of times, he had no filter between thought and utterance of his mouth. And he would say every time, "You're gonna love this." His show utilized a dog in later seasons, but Jim kept yanking its chain despite being told repeatedly not to. Eventually, the dog bit him, and they had to find a new dog and paint his chest white. Again, his contact was limited with the animal, and a stunt double was used whenever possible. He's also a racist, a homophobe, and a misogynist. He didn't want to shoot a scene where his character rescues a gay couple because it was against his religion. Eventually, he agreed after someone told him about 9/11 firefighters rescuing everyone, not caring about what they believed or who they were with. He then agreed, but went the whole day repeating that as if he believed what he was doing was as noble as the 9/11 firefighters. do racist, anti-Semitic shit all the time, try to guess a person's ethnicity, and then drop into a fake accent. He would speak fake Chinese to an Asian person. He legitimately thought the fake language was real, and he believed the gibberish he spoke was actual Mandarin Chinese, despite being told that he was not saying anything. Let's see. He hated the idea of interracial romance between his character and another black actor. He would go on tirades with the writers about how interracial relationships shouldn't be allowed in real life. This is most likely why the character was killed off, since they had planned for their romance to be a whole thing, and with that not happening, had to change gears. Loved to speak about Hitler and impersonate Hitler. He'd frequently just mention how Hitler had the right idea, but just went too far, or how Hitler was really smart before adding, but evil. He'd praise how organized and regimented Hitler was, despite that he wasn't really. Always trying to add the caveat, but evil. Oops, shit. He would also impersonate Hitler, believing it to be the funniest thing in the world. Oh yeah, he attended a Quran burning. That was crazy. The showrunners couldn't stand the guy, and once the show was over, CBS was looking to cast him for a Navy SEALs show. CBS executives had to call them and tell them, like, this is a really, really bad idea, and this man is actually dangerous. Now, the thing is, the reason why I bring this up is this is well known. And Jim Caviezel has had a really fucking hard time getting really any kind of work aside from working in, working basically with people that have very specific ideas, you know? It's pretty weird. So the whole thing is, these people who make Sound of Freedom, they want Jim Caviezel. Okay, they want him. No matter what, this is the guy that they want, and they're totally fine with working with him. Now, that isn't to say that these people who made this movie are signing off on his beliefs, but they obviously don't have that big of a problem with it. That should tell you something. That should actually inform some basis of opinion. The article is Rolling Stone. Was it like an opinion piece in the Rolling Stone? Because it sounded pretty dumb. Like, I'll agree with Shu that article that she was focusing on, kind of a crappy article. Kind of a crappy one. Not very objective. But if it's listed as like an opinion piece, I mean, whatever. That's what opinion pieces are for. Anyway.
Urge to ever see it again, but I can't say I wasn't entertained in some way. Oh! Of course, this is tailored to go down easy. That's how propaganda works.
God damn it.
Sound of Freedom, the QAnon-adjacent thriller seducing America.
I love this. QAnon tinge. QAnon adjacent. I love how, this has very QAnon vibes, sweetie. It's supposed to just be good enough to turn people away from this movie. Like, I imagine my mom reading this. She has no idea what QAnon is. Like, what does this even mean to the average person? Because they can't call the movie QAnon, because it's not. Oh look, more of the actor's opinions. He's a fucking conservative, of course he's retarded. The uninitiated may not-
I didn't say it. Like, okay, and the other thing that's really kind of annoying about this is, she's almost there when she's talking about how people in real life and boomers are not going to be, like, internet coded. Not really, you know? But at the same time, it's... QAnon has become at least well-known enough that boomers are going to hear about it. I don't think anybody reading these articles is going to necessarily be turned off from the idea of watching it. I think most people are not watching it because it's a weird situation, a very weird situation. If that's a movie that you want to see, go watch it. It's totally fine. Go watch it. From what I've seen, I haven't seen the whole movie. I did see a large section. I think it was about like 6 or 7 minutes or so, and not good. Not good. Production quality bad. Acting bad. Editing bad. Direction seems pretty bad. Just seems like a really shitty low budget movie, you know. So I don't know. Yeah, that's really sad.
pick up on the red yarn and corkboard subtext pinned to a mostly straightforward extraction mission in South America, pretty much taken with a faint whiff of something noxious in the air. Those tuned in to the eardrum frequency of QAnon, however, have heeded a clarion call that leads right to the multiplex. The traffickers are anonymous foreigners, mentioned as rebels, in an unspecified regional conflict with no connection to the alleged Clinton crime family. A coating of plausible deniability covers a film that takes care to be the most anodyne version of itself, all while giving those in the know just enough to latch onto.
That's, look, and the thing is, when you write it, so that last line is actually very interesting, okay? A coding of plausible deniability covers a film that takes care to be the most anodyne version of itself, all while giving those in the know just enough to latch onto. That is a fair statement. There's nothing wrong with that statement, because as I pointed out, Jim Caviezel is not. It's whether or not he's a lunatic, and he is. He's also a terror to work with. He's a bad person to work with. He's a shitty actor. Well, one, he's not really that great at acting either, but as in having to work with him is a nightmare because he's like a bad person. He's a piece of shit. So the people who are making this movie, they can get they could get another actor, but they're getting Jim. And they want to work with Jim, and they work with Jim despite knowing that he is a pain in the ass to work with. Why would they want to specifically work with Jim? Also, just so happens that Jim is very vocal about these very specific conspiracy theories. And, that's his whole identity. That's all he ever wants to fucking talk about. So, there is a very legitimate criticism that there is some sort of connection there. Some sort of draw. And to say, giving those in the know just enough to latch onto is a fair statement. In my opinion, that is a fair statement. It's a wink and a nod towards people who might also be coded towards this kind of conspiracy theory. That is a fair criticism.
Enough to latch onto.
Yeah, so this movie had nothing to do with QAnon whatsoever, but it secretly did.
These strains
Reductive fucking nonsense. Absolute reductive. You know, all this is... this is like so many of Shu's videos. I mean, I really haven't watched a whole lot of them because she is boring. But a lot of the ones that I have seen over the past year are exactly this. It's like, here's an argument. Here's a really quick, easily accessible Zoomer response to it. Oh, yeah? Okay. And just, it's dismissive and intellectually dishonest. Like, can you give any kind of analysis other than, well, they never said QAnon in the movie? So, fuck off. Come on, man.
of scaremongering are absent in the text itself, but they lurk in the shadows.
There's nothing bad in the movie, but it's lurking in the shadows. I'm gonna be completely honest, I think you might be the conspiracy theorist here.
QAnon and Sound of Freedom both rely on tired Hollywood tropes by Noah Berlatsky.
Noah Berlatsky. Where do I know that name?
Mm-hmm.
Meet Noah Berlatsky. Now, our friend Noah has some interesting takes. Pedophiles are essentially a stigmatized group.
Yeah.
Certain people get designated as deviants.
Yeah.
People hate them. Parents are tyrants. Parents is an oppressive class, like rich people or white people. He also wrote a few blogs on the Prostasia website.
The Noah Berlatsky thing is really obnoxious. And of course, it's a great, and look, it also is kind of telling, I don't know if she's going to bring up anybody else in specific, but it's kind of weird that if you're going to bring up one specific person to criticize as far as the response to Sound of Freedom, you're bringing up Noah Berlatsky. Noah fucking talks about shit all the goddamn time. I don't follow him because I don't like him. But a lot of people say a lot of things about this movie. But it's pretty helpful to be able to get that callback and that reference to something very distasteful and disgusting, right?
Child sex workers' biggest threat: the police. Okay, let's back up for a second. There's no such thing as a child sex worker, Noah. That's called a human trafficking victim. He's the fucking journalist who got mad at me like a year ago for criticizing the Netflix movie
Cuties. Angel Studios, which created the thriller, insists that the movie itself isn't related to QAnon, and after sitting through the 2-hour-long movie, I think Angel Studios has a point. The film doesn't explicitly reference QAnon talking points. Instead, in many ways, it echoes and reproduces themes and tropes around trafficking that are common in mainstream Hollywood cinema.
The literal
Wait, are you gonna finish that? Finish that line? Wait. Why didn't you finish that line? Why didn't you finish that line? Hang on.
It echoes and reproduces themes and tropes around trafficking that are common in mainstream Hollywood cinema.
So, and she's not going to read the last line that she actually put in there. Sound of Freedom isn't QAnon propaganda, exactly, but it shows how closely QAnon propaganda mirrors common popular pulp narratives. Yes. That's the point of the paragraph. That's the point of the paragraph. Why not read that part? How does she respond to this?
Hollywood cinema.
The literal pedophile simp was more fair to this movie than the average journalist. He goes on to talk about how the movie is, inaccurate because 41% of children are actually trafficked from people they know, in their family. And maybe that's true, but,
No, it is true. It is true. It's very true. You're more likely to be abused and trafficked by your own family members than anybody else.
Don't understand how that's a valid criticism of the movie, because the movie is based on one thing, a real thing that happened.
No, fair,
it's like watching a movie about a plane crash and being like, actually, more people die in car accidents.
Oh, yeah, that's a fair criticism by Shu. Yeah, that's good.
They just kind of seem like they're reaching for literally anything.
Is Sound of Freedom a QAnon dog whistle? Or is it just another thriller? The answer is that, whatever the filmmaker's intentions, it functions as both.
Yeah.
Great, awesome, thank you. Thank you as always, Noah, for your delightful contribution to the discourse.
I mean, I would go even further than Noah and say, I would believe, in my opinion, that it is coded very specifically towards it, more so than it being just a simple thriller. Purely on the simple point that they had Jim Caviezel. That's it. It's really no more complicated than that. And yeah.
I love this large disclaimer at the bottom here. We do not claim this man. If this movie came out a few years ago like it was supposed to, I really don't think anyone would have cared. People were literally coming at me like, oh, don't see this movie, it's a QAnon movie. And I'd be like, how is it a QAnon movie? And they'd be like, I don't know, I didn't see it.
Yeah, I know that guy on Twitter, and she cut off a bunch of that tweet, actually, and I think I have it right here. Let me see. Yeah, where to go? Because it's kind of bullshit that she did it. Yeah, here we go. So the full tweet, which she cut off, was, did I watch it? No, fuck no, I didn't. I've also not watched Birth of a Nation, but can confidently tell you it's a KKK propaganda. I've also not watched Cuties, but I can tell you that it's pedophilic. That was their comment that June apparently decided to cut off. I'm not really sure why. It's very strange. Yeah, I don't know, because I think that does actually change quite a bit of the tweet. But whatever.
Then shut the fuck up. These people are literally just being told the people you don't like this movie, so you have to not like it. You literally don't have to do that. Nobody has a gun to your head. Nobody's telling you to run offense for the human trafficking movie.
Wait. But wait. Have you heard of this concept? And I'm just putting it out there. June. Have you heard of this concept of movie critics, right? Have you heard of this concept about movie critics and that everybody's got to have a stupid opinion about movies, and people want to read and to watch their opinions on movies, and that they're going to talk about maybe what this movie is for and who it's for. Do you have a problem when somebody is like, hey, the Winnie the Pooh is more for children than adults? What the fuck? There's nothing wrong with saying that a movie is coded more for a certain type of audience, because if it's obvious, then it is what it is. And the other thing too is, if they came out and openly said like, well, yeah, no, people who are you know, like, believe in like QAnon or more like hardcore right wing will really like this movie. Well, fine, like they're allowed to have their movies. Those people can have their movies. This is America. Like, it's totally fine if a fringe group wants to have their movies, because everybody is allowed the legal right to enjoy their media and produce their media if they want to. You know, if people have this criticism because they think it is coded and kind of dishonest, it's okay for them to point that out. There's nothing wrong with it, because they're at least doing more rigor in understanding and analysis than this piece of shit video.
Nobody's telling you to run defense for cuties, and yet they do it. And let me make this clear. If you don't want to support this movie because you just morally disagree with one of the actors in it, that's fine.
Yeah.
But don't go around smearing it as the Q movie when it's just factually not.
But wait. So you are mad that people are criticizing it because of the choices by the filmmakers to include an actor who believes in a conspiracy that is adjacent but just slightly more kooky than the movie portrays. And this is the video you decided to make. After 3 weeks, it's not like there's anything else that's been pretty interesting or culturally relevant that has been happening in the fucking world that you could have made a video on. But it's this one. That's a little fucking weird, man. It's a little fucking weird. Again, I'm reading in the context of this. That's the thing. When you're doing an analysis of The Sound of Freedom, you need to look at the context, not just, well, they never technically said QAnon inside the movie. Like, the context around the people who made it, the people involved in it, the way in which it's being released at a very specific point in time, the narrative in our country that is in regards to it. You know, that context thing. Remember that thing that like 7 years ago was the biggest thing we were craving and asking the fucking media to do, provide us the context so that we can accurately judge that? But we don't need context because they never say QAnon in the movie, so it's fine. You know, like what are you even talking about? It's so insane to me.
You think if Eyes Wide Shut came out today, they would call it QAnon? Probably. I mean, they did kill the director shortly after. Now, the one big criticism I do actually share with the critics of this movie is the ending. At the end, after the credits, the main character gives this little speech about how important this movie was, and...
You know, I'll put it this way. If they came out with Eyes Wide Shut today, there might be some people who think that it's coded. I'm sure people back then probably thought it was coded too. You know, people like call for an uprising or blah blah blah. Any of those like weird conspiracy people probably thought, you know, it was coded for Satanism or something like that. But if it came out today and it had the same actors in it, I don't think people call it a QAnon movie. If they put Jim Caviezel in it, yes, I do think they would. I do. I legitimately do. You know?
And how terrible human trafficking is.
Thank you all for coming out and watching this movie. I'm guessing some of you are feeling sad, maybe overwhelmed, or even a sense of fear, which is understandable. But living in fear isn't how we solve this problem.
And I expected him to, like, direct the audience to more information, or how they can help, or charities, but instead he just threw up, like, a QR code, where you can buy more tickets to this movie for other people, in order...
Weird how they do that. Weird how they do that. Isn't that strange? Isn't that strange? That they're just... Nobody's paying for this movie themselves. It's a perpetual, like, passing down, funded by millionaires to artificially inflate the numbers. Like I could go and dig it up, but you can go look for yourself. And if you're watching this, you've probably already seen it already. Massively empty theaters that were sold out. I mean, it's just so dumb. It's so dumb what it obviously is trying to do. It's obvious to everyone except for people who use this very tired teenage level argumentation of, but they never actually said it in the movie. Like, fuck off, man.
In order to spread the word. Which, I mean, sure, the movie's good and it will get people talking.
I thought it was boring but I guess it's good now.
But what can the average normal person do besides talking about your movie and buying tickets to your movie? It was the last thing we saw before walking out of the theater, and it just kind of left like a bad taste in my mouth. Like, you not only leave the theater feeling sad, you leave it feeling powerless. Like, oh, there's this terrible thing happening and I can't do anything about it except buy more tickets to this movie. I must save the children. It's like me being like, if you want to save the children, donate to my Patreon. So do I recommend this movie? Yeah, for 3 reasons. 1, it was pretty good. 2, so you can say you actually saw it and your criticisms will be valid. And most importantly, 3, to own the libs. So did you see
What the fuck? Jesus Christ. Okay, and the thing is, like, there's a lot of people that are making this criticism of this video and of June. June's just dumb. She doesn't know what she's talking about. And if you push June on many issues, she'll say, sorry, I'm just dumb. I don't know any better. I disagree. I really disagree. June has bad takes, but I don't think it's because June is dumb. I think that June is a lot smarter than people want to believe. And I think that June is fully aware of the kind of ironic superposition she puts herself in order to push an argumentation that leans in a very specific point. Like, her content is overwhelmingly anti-the libs, harrowing back to, like, just 2016 boring, tired, perpetual nonsense. And, you know, like, it would be fine if we still lived in that world. We don't. The world is a lot different. You know, and I think it takes a certain amount of bravery to start analyzing things and questioning the position that you put yourself in if you want to be an immovable rock and never try and evolve and change. And you have to do it on purpose. On purpose. All of this is done with intention. This is not... oh, well, nah, fuck that. Fuck that. You know, like, how infantilizing people are when they make that kind of claim for June if they're her fans. And if you are not her fan and you make that claim, then you probably just don't know her as well as I do. Or how YouTubers work.
this movie, and what did you think of it? And if you like this video, please subscribe, donate to my Patreon to save the children. It's the only way you can save the children, hurry!
You know, okay, so I'm gonna put it this way. June here, she had this interesting point at the end where she was like, you know, it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth because it's just trying to get people to watch more of the movie and blah, blah, and, you know, it made me feel like, why you can't help the kids or anything like that. I know exactly how to help kids. On the international human trafficking trade front, at least domestically here in the United States, we can push our legislators to increase funding, specifically for customs agents, to have better access or more people specifically for combating human trafficking. That would be good. That would be good. That is a federal agency that I believe has a very strong necessity out there because there are more slaves alive today than there ever have been in the world. And some of our ports, and I know this for a fact, some of our ports here in the United States are centralized hubs where thousands, tens of thousands of human slaves are pushed through. This happens here. It happens here. That's fucked up. And also, what would probably make a huge dent is if we, abolish religion, you know? Maybe especially Catholic. Wouldn't that be good, June? Do you want to join me with this on this one, June? You don't have any ideological reason why you would oppose somebody trying to have further investigations into the Catholic Church. And maybe if the Catholic Church keeps getting caught trafficking children, they should lose their tax exempt status. You going to join me with that one? Because that would be cool. It's not like you have any personal reasons why you might not want to criticize the Catholic Church, is there? Is there? I'm just saying. I'm just curious. I'm putting it out there. It's a question. I'm just asking the question. I'll put it on the table, and I'm walking away. But yeah, again, I got to wonder, why is it that this is the culturally relevant situation, the main topic that you wanted to, like, make a video on after 3 weeks? That this is very important. It's very important that people go and watch the stupid, shitty fucking movie that them don't want you to see. What a piece of shit fucking video. My God.